Jay.
What's going on?
Your book is a memoir of a former bikie, heroin trafficker and underworld fixer. Most people would say that you're a bad man.
Yeah, they're on point.
Notorious Comanchero Ahmed Jay Malkoun was badly injured in the targeted attack as he left an Athens gym.
The car bomb went off. I knew straight away it was an explosion because you could tell the car lifted.
Police believe the explosive was dynamite.
Fucking the thing was blown the fuck up. You could barely see. Fortunately for me, the door was open. I think a lot of the energy was expelled through the door. That may have been what saved me.
A bomb so powerful shattered windows and set 3 other cars alight.
It's really strange that I survived that. I agree. Everyone says the same thing. But I did.
Badly burnt and bloody, the exiled bikie was pulled from the car and taken to hospital.
My nose was bleeding, my ears were bleeding. I couldn't see clearly, but I could see. I thought for sure there's going to be a shooter. You can't leave this job half done. So my fear was, how am I going to survive the shooter? I've already survived the bomb. I knew I was intact. My legs were a mess. My adrenaline was pumping. I dragged myself out looking for a fucking shooter, mate.
And then you see someone.
I see someone coming towards me. I thought, this is it. I'm fucked. Like, what am I going to do? Fall left or fall right? That's all I can do. Turns out he wasn't a shooter, and he started dragging me to the road. And another guy came up, and I pulled him back, thinking that might have been a shooter. And I tried to warn him because he's going to get shot as well. He was also panicked. But it wasn't a shooter, and they put me out in the middle of the road, literally in front of the car. I don't know why they did that, but I said, listen, take me down a bit further or put me on the footpath. Like, I couldn't walk, I was fucked. So they just moved me a little bit further and then started directing traffic. But I realised, like, within 4 or 5 minutes, there was a lot of people around that it's too late for a shooter. So I stopped thinking about that and started thinking about who the fuck blew me up and how we're going to get on with it.
What was Perth like in the 1980s for you?
Perth was amazing, man. Like, what a town. We trained, we were fit. Drugs weren't a thing. But it was good. Perth was amazing. Probably still is, actually. It's just a nice lifestyle here. The weather's great, the people are great.
You own Zuzu's nightclub in Northbridge. Young, Arab-looking guy. Do you think that put a target on your back?
No. Target from who?
People that didn't like your very conspicuous display of wealth.
No, I think we were okay. We weren't that wealthy. Wealthier than I was in Melbourne, like working on the door, but certainly not. It wasn't obscene wealth. I had a boat, it was only worth 100 grand, bro. It's not a big ticket. I had a car, it's worth 50 grand, big deal. It wasn't a Commodore, but it was not obscene wealth. We had a nightclub, but that was work. We worked it 6 days a week.
John Kizon, you talk about how he was an exceptional negotiator.
He's a very good negotiator.
When did you first meet him?
Kizon, I met him in my club years ago, in 85, 86, 87. I said, who's this bloke getting all the girls? It's my fucking club, what's going on here? Charming. And, you know, like, could box, could really throw him. And I come from a fighting background, so I can respect and appreciate that. There was a bit of rivalry between him and I in the beginning, but, you know, we gelled in the end. Champion bloke. Kind of guy you grow old with. You know, you have a handful of friends that you've had all your life. Well, he's one of them. Loyal as fuck. Fair. Do anything for you. If he loves you, he loves you. If he doesn't, you're fucked.
Simultaneous raids in Perth and Melbourne resulted in the arrest of 8 men. Police seized high-grade heroin with a street value of $9 million, as well as a collection of guns and ammunition.
The reason you were in jail for heroin trafficking.
Yep.
You write in the book that you believe that the charges were trumped up. That, yes, you were doing it, but no way did you have 5 kilos of heroin.
For a start, back in those days, it wasn't kilos, it was fucking pounds. They took a pound out of the car and put it in the safe.
In Melbourne, 8 homes were the target of drug squad police, while in Perth, a massive stakeout centred on this nightclub in William Street. Its alleged heroin and a loaded pistol were found inside a safe, while more of the drug was taken from a car parked nearby.
It was mine, no question, but they were being a bit tricky. But as it turned out, we pleaded guilty anyway.
You pleaded guilty because you needed to save your brother.
That was the carrot they were dangling. He was fucked. The offer was only extended to both of us. If I rejected the offer, it was not extended to my brother.
The Malkoun brothers' lawyer said they would be denying the charges and would oppose extradition to Victoria to face charges of importing and conspiracy to deal in heroin with the other men charged in Melbourne.
So he pleaded guilty. I pleaded to try and get him a reduced sentence.
You mentioned in your book that if you had known the damage heroin caused back then, if you knew about the drug, you would have thought twice about doing this.
Can I tell you? When we were in court, I couldn't understand what the fuss was all about. Like, when they would talk about me, the prosecutor and the judge, I thought, am I missing something here? What the fuck's going on? All I saw was a little bit of powder. Now I'm experiencing it firsthand and understanding it, and I'm a bit more mature and a bit more settled. I'm not a 23-year-old reckless kid anymore. So you can appreciate why they were so fucking hard on me. And I accepted that. I took it on the chin and rolled with it.
The police obviously thought you were Mr. Big of the drug trade because they had snipers on the roof of the courthouse.
Yeah, well, it didn't help that I got caught with machine guns. Silenced machine guns. They were a cracker, mate. Fucking beauties. I was bringing one to Perth to take off the roof of a clubhouse once, but never got around to it. They had to get a victory, bro. I was it. I'm not saying they were wrong. I was definitely guilty. They had coppers on either side lined up with shotguns. I had to walk past. I don't know what the fuck that was for. Yeah, I was handcuffed.
So
True
obviously
story.
we're very worried about you.
But when we punched on in court, a third of the court was police officers, the middle was solicitors and journalists, and the left was family and friends. He got smashed, this cunt, rightly so. They didn't move.
You've had a pretty ugly life.
I've had a beautiful life. Why is it ugly?
10 years in Pentridge.
It was fun.
You recount a lot of stories in the book about that 10-year period behind bars. You say you were protected to an extent because of your reputation.
Yeah, I had privileges, not jail privileges, like not government privileges. There was no grey there. They're the dogs and we're the prisoners. They're there to lock the gate and open the gate, and that's it. Some prisoners took it in a different direction. They decided to try and get favours from prison guards, but we did not. There was a very, very clear, defined line that my brother and I chose. They hated us and we hated them, and we expressed it daily.
You think you came out a better man than you went in?
I think I came out 12 foot tall. You're definitely a better man.
An escalation in bikie violence that prompted the New South Wales Parliament to declare its own war on bikie gangs, rushing through tough new laws, cracking down on outlaw motorcycle groups.
Why did you make the decision to join the Comancheros?
Well, you know, it was canvassed for a while. My mate Adam took on the job, and him and his two offsiders. I spoke to my family, my wife, meaning my wife, and some close friends, and they go, "Yeah, man, you crazy? Do it." It was a little bit embarrassing in the beginning. I was a bit shy about the whole wearing a vest thing, but I took to it, and it was good. It was a lot of fun.
The anti-bikie Echo Task Force has publicly named its targets. The Comancheros and Hells Angels join the Rebels, Bandidos and the recently established local chapter of the Mongols as enemies of the state.
Big difference being the sharp-dressed gangster on the streets wearing leather and a patch.
Well, it depends on how you carry yourself. You don't need a vest. The vest doesn't make a man. The man makes the vest. So for me, we only wore our colours on rides. My boys weren't allowed to wear their colours during the day and fuck around and carry on like hooligans. I forbid that shit. So when we went for rides together, we'd wear our colours. Outside of that, it was just normal.
And you were the head of the Victorian Comancheros a few weeks after joining the Comancheros.
I was sergeant straight away, which is highly unusual. Usually you would go through a period of nomination and then you gradually climb through the ranks. But they made me sergeant straight away, and soon the first day on the job they had a big problem with the Finks, which was sorted out, and that's what happened. So I became president within like a week, 2 weeks.
What did you grow the club to?
Well over 70.
You had your own private army.
Pretty much. Yeah. My 8 were a fucking army, mate. They were formidable. Well, they still are.
Led by Victorian Comanchero President Ahmed Jay Malkoun, more than 100 Comanchero members rode into town for the club's national run.
You've had interactions with police your entire life.
No, I haven't. Actually, I have not. I had interactions with the police in 1987 when I was arrested, and that was it. I've never been questioned or challenged or charged with another thing since 1987. I'm fucking squeaky clean, bro.
Do you think that the head of the Australian Federal Police would say the same thing?
Well, they probably got a bit of a boner for me. But they have been turning me inside out since I was probably 18, actually. And they come up with fucking nothing, because there is nothing. Yeah, that I'm a fucking genius. I can tell you I'm not that smart. You know, when I got into crime back in 85, 86, it would have been so easy. You didn't have all the cameras, the surveillance, the docs were a fucking free-for-all, bro. You'd have to be a complete fuckwit to get caught. And guess what? I got caught. So clearly I was not a mastermind or a good criminal.
You left Australia because there was a lot of heat in bikie land.
No, bro. Not at all. There was no fucking heat. Bikie land was fine. Gangster land was also fine. There was no heat. I left Australia because the Herald Sun kept fucking putting me on the front page, and it became a problem for my children. At the time I was a bit, the fuck? But now, reflecting back, I think I probably would have been a bit nervous as well if a high-ranking Hells Angel or coffin cheater or fucking Mongol had kids in my school and there were issues left and right and people getting hurt. You don't want to be, get caught in the crossfire, I guess. So we made a conscious decision to relocate. My then wife, had a great idea to open up early learning centres, similar to a Japanese style called Shishida, which my children attended, and it was fucking brilliant. So I gave up all of what I was doing, sold all my assets, paid out my mortgages. I had 3 mortgages at the time, moved to Dubai, and we had a crack for a couple of years. And it was going well for a while. And then it didn't.
A former senior member of the Hells Angels bikie gang has been found in a grave in Thailand. Wayne Rodney Schneider was abducted from his home in Pattaya by 5 masked men early on Monday morning. The body of the former bikie, once one of the country's most wanted criminals, was found buried 2 metres deep.
But I was with Wayne Schneider when he was killed. And a lot of Hells Angels and Comos think that I was involved somehow.
Very coincidental that a senior Comanchero is with a Hells Angel in exile and that Hells Angel ends up dead. You can understand why they were suspicious.
Well, that and the fact that the Comos wanted him dead for a long time. But it wasn't coincidental, it was just fucking bad luck, mate. Like the worst luck ever. What I didn't know then, that I know now, because I was through speaking to Glenn, his offsider, is that Wayne knew there was something going on. He'd spotted that van in his compound 2 weeks earlier and asked Glenn, what do you think? Who could that be? Could it be Antonio? I didn't know Antonio until then.
Police have identified another Australian, 26-year-old Antonio Bagnato, as the main suspect in the murder.
He knew there was something going on. So he asked me, he wouldn't let me not go to Pattaya, bro. Well, I don't want to go to fucking Pattaya. I was in Bangkok for medical reasons. I think he just wanted me around, just to have someone around that he could trust. He could definitely trust me. And they would have his back. I would definitely have his back. Unfortunately, though, I was asleep when shit happened.
The title of your book is The Consultant.
Yes.
One of the reasons they call you the consultant is because you work with corporates.
Yes.
Tell us about working with Australian mining companies. Why were your services so in demand with Australian mining companies?
Well, these guys are targets for the criminal world. They get stood over and extorted and told what to do and who to give it to, especially here in Perth. It's great.
You describe a meeting where you were working out security for a new Spearmint Rhino strip club in Queensland.
Yes.
Talk to us about who was around the table.
Kizon called me. So, mate, I got a few of the boys here. I think it was during a boxing event. It was a world title fight. So we were all there in Sydney anyway. And they wanted to catch up. I said, oh, yeah, who's going to be there? He rattled off the names. I said, yeah, no problem. There was 25, Troy, John, what's that cop? Roger Rogerson, and some other bloke, I don't remember his name.
So 25, that's Greg Keating.
Yeah.
From the Finks.
From the Finks.
Troy is Troy McCanty.
Yep, Coffin Cheddars.
John is John Kizon.
Yep.
And Roger Rogerson.
Roger Rogerson. What a sick cunt.
You weren't the only Australian gangster to be targeted in Greece.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Macros.
The explosion occurred outside the same gym used by murdered Sydney gangster John Macros. He was shot dead just 4 months ago, less than 2 kilometres from the latest bombing.
I met Macros through the commos. Lots of money. Oh, I shouldn't say that. He worked hard and he had some money. I don't know how much, but he drove some nice cars. But he was, as far as I knew, a good bloke.
And now dead.
Passed. Dead. Horrible death.
Who do you think tried to kill you in Greece?
Well, fuck the list, mate. Could be anyone. Like if it was directly related to anything I actually fucking know, I would know by now. Because people talk, right? But I don't know, man. Could be anyone. I think it was a mistake. I reckon they got the wrong bloke. But who knows?
That would go.
But whoever it is, if you're listening, thanks for hiring that hitman, because he fumbled it up. He did a fucking shit job. And a sore foot. Big fucking deal.